Oh!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DFU. So we are going to be doing a study group, I believe is what me and Kelsey called it. If I called it study hall or something else like that, I apologize. Whatever the last name is, that's what we're going with. So I'm going to just say it's study group. All right, let's see what happens. Anyways, so those of you that haven't been through a study group, which we've done one for the movie Glass when that was coming out. We talked about, obviously, Unbreakable and the other movies that go along with that.
Split.
There you go. Thank you, Split.
Yeah.
And then we did another one for Avengers Infinity War before that came out with me, Kelsey, and Dylan. And I think this would be the official third one. Yeah, I think so. Unless she's done them without me, which she could have, so I don't know. But third one, for me at least. So, that being said, you guys have been lucky. You've been getting a lot of Final Fantasy content recently, which a lot of you have been asking for. So I'm happy that I give that to you. Unfortunately, really can only do it whenever Square Enix gives it to me. So it's really all I can do for you. But our last two DFUs were lecture lessons, and the first one was a Final Fantasy 16, What Do We Know Now? And that was before we got the trailer. And then the trailer dropped literally that next week. And so then I made the second episode, which was Final Fantasy 16, where we're at now, and talked about all the stuff with the trailer, where I think we're going. We broke down the new information on the website, talked about the new dominance that we saw, some of the new Aeons, blah, 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 blah. Now you guys are wanting me to do something for 7 since we just saw the 7 thing. So here we are to talk about 7. So the way I want to do this is going to be kind of a little bit different. I'm going to bring up the trailer here in a second. And by trailer, I do mean the full announcement. We're not going to watch the entire thing. But I am going to skip to the specific things that me and JoJo are going to talk about. We're going to skip over First Soldier because neither one of us play it. But we are going to talk about Ever Crisis a little bit. And we are going to talk about the Crisis Core remake, and then we are going to heavily talk about the remake part 2, which is Rebirth now, is the name of that one. So, and then
we're going to talk about the clock.
The clock? Oh,
dude. They did a
yes, I know. I've already pre-ordered everything they showed except for like the fucking ring and the wristband.
What the $500 Roche statue?
Dude, that thing is nutty, bro. Oh, you know that the Shinra Soldier on the motorcycle is the exact same price too. I was all like, Roche, I kind of get. I mean, he's even more. That's the part. That's the craziest part to that. He's even more expensive than my Soldier First Class Edition. It cost me $375, $85 with shipping, to get Soldier First Class, which came with the deluxe version of the game, all the summoning Aeons right off the bat, as far as the little guys, the Cactar, the fucking Chocobo chick, and Cloud and his bike and a lanyard. I paid $380 for that. And Roche is $120 more expensive than that. What? Makes no sense.
I guess it's all on the motorcycle? Yeah, because...
But Cloud's on the fucking badass one from the Shinra Tower. Roche just on a fucking...
Figure, or is that a statue?
It's an action figure. It's the same thing as Roche's. It's the exact same thing.
Explain it.
So they call them statuettes, which are the ones that actually come on bases. Like, you can't take them off, you can't move them. And then they have their articulate figures, which are their play arts statues, but they're really figures. So they can move and everything else like that. So I know that you guys can't see it, but JoJo can see outside my green screen. I have all my boxes up over there. So I'm getting ready to box them all up because I'm moving. So, anyways, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, he's more expensive than the main fucking character.
It's presumptuous. Yeah, I don't know.
Makes no sense.
How many people are out there? What could the audience for that be? Of people who care about Roche. Are you about?
I bought it already. Yeah, I've already pre-ordered.
You buy this Shinra Soldier too?
Yep.
Damn. Okay.
I have every single one of the statues that have come out so far. Every single one. So I have...
Even Yuffie's friend.
That one I don't have. That's fair. That one I don't have.
Okay.
You got me on that. But that's because I'm waiting on him to go on discount. Because I'm like, this guy...
Right, I mean, yeah.
You were around for fucking an hour, bro. Like, I'm not going to spend $175 on you. You're around for an hour. But I have...
His name.
Cloud Sinone. Cloud... Red 13... from Advent Children. And Cloud from Advent Children was $300. Red 13 was $350, almost $400. I have Vincent from Dirge of Cerberus. He was like 180. I guess people don't like Dirge of Cerberus. I don't really care to collect anybody else from Advent Children. I'm not a big fan of some of their outfits. Like, I didn't care for Barrett's outfit in Advent Children. All he had that weird, like, fishnet undershirt with, like, the jacket. Oh, he looked weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not the Barrett look I like. I like Barrett from 7. He looks fucking badass. Tifa, her look was but once again, I didn't really care to get it. I don't like Sid's outfit at all. I'm not a Sid fan of Advent Children. I think he looks way cooler in the game than he does in Advent Children. I don't like the fact that Mog's not in Advent Children, so it's just fucking Kate Sith running around on Red 13.
Yeah, no thanks.
So, as far as the actual remake goes, I have Cloud and his bike that I got from Soldier First Class. I got Tifa. I've got Red 13. I've got, once again, so that's 2 Red 13s. I've got Aerith. I've got Barrett. I've got Rufus. I've got Reno. I've got Rude. And I've got Sephiroth. That's all that's come out so far. And the last 2 of that volume before they showed Roche, or not the last 2 of the volume, last 4 of the volume, before they showed Roche was Jessie and Yuffie, which I have on pre-order, and Tifa in her dress, her number 1 dress, and Aerith in her number 1 dress. And I have those on pre-order as well. So,
yeah.
Along with their statuettes. They also have a statuette of each one of the dresses, and I have that on pre-order as well. I know.
I did not remember Barrett's mesh chainmail shirt. That does look pretty weird.
That looks weird, dude. I don't like that.
You can get it for
Sid's look either.
$90.
I know.
One.
I know. I actually just found, I'm only bringing it up because I got it right here on my desk. A long time ago, whenever I worked at Toys R Us, way before they went out of business, they had released some Kingdom Hearts figures. And we had gotten a box in, 1 box. And we never got another box in. They were like supposed to be very limited run, and it wasn't even the only at Toys R Us thing either, which was weird. Because usually that's the only time they would do the like limited runs. And when I started working for Toys R Us, I worked in the electronics department. And then I ended up getting moved to the back of house where I was unloading trucks, truck captain, all that fun stuff. So I'm lucky that happened because when I was working truck, I saw a box as I was unloading that said Kingdom Hearts. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I put it to the side, unload the entire rest of the truck. Then I take the box out to where it's supposed to go to unload it. Well, whenever I do, I walk past the electronics section and my buddy Wes was working and he saw Kingdom Hearts on it. So of course he comes walking over because he's a huge Square Enix fan. So I open it up, and inside you've got like Sora and Goofy and Mickey, and there's these deluxe figures. And there was 1 Cloud. 1 Cloud. Wow. And I see him go to reach for it, and he's like, "Is that Cloud?" And I was like, "No, it's not." And I literally just grab it and put it behind me. So I bought it. Still have him. I actually just recently fucking found him.
Oh, wow, yeah. Hey.
I had him on the shelf way all the way up, almost to the ceiling. And I was dating this chick, and she had a cat. And the cat jumped up and knocked him down and broke the Buster Blade. So he doesn't have his Buster Blade. So I actually ended up rebuying, but it wasn't even this figure. I rebought this style of Cloud from Square Enix. So that way I could have another full one. But I just wish, like, this figure alone is, like, fucking, like, in the box, it's like $500 for this fucking guy. Because he was that limited. So to know that his fucking Buster Sword broke really sucks, dude. But yeah, I literally just found him yesterday because, like I said, I'm in the middle of process of moving. So, moving shit around, finding new shit, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... Jeez. But yeah, like I said, Sid, not a fan of his look in that game either. I like the jacket. I like his jacket that he wears in the actual game. So, although he cracked me up in the movie, though. I like that scene where they're talking about, like, they're wanting to go down there and help Cloud fight, what's his fucking face? Kadash. And Barrett's like, "Can you park this thing already?" And Sid's like, "Get off my back. You want off, then jump." It's like, dude, fucking Sid, dude. I love him. He's great.
This Sid figure comes with a Kate Sith, so it looks all right.
That's why I kind of want to get it, but I kind of want to just wait.
It's basically looks like Sid, just he took off his jacket.
Yeah, I want to wait because I'm really hoping that the remake doesn't fuck us and we get Kate Sith on Mog. Would be great.
Yeah, that'll have to.
If we don't, I'm gonna be a little upset about it for sure. But I'm really hoping we're gonna get Kate Sith on Mog. So, and then I'll just wait for that figure. That'd be a weird thing to change. I mean, we've seen some other shit change so far, so
Oh yeah, well that I mean, if they draw some kind of consequence from Zack survives to I don't know, Mog doesn't exist, like
Yeah.
that'd be odd.
Yep. That's a figure I'm fucking waiting for. Zack. I did not get Zack, and the Zack that's out there is like apparently a very limited run from Crisis Core, and that fucking figure is expensive. I think last time I looked at it was like $1,000. I was like,
Oh no.
well, I can't fucking buy that.
Jeez.
So, yeah. But the alarm clock I'm debating on. I really want it, but it is one of those things where it's like it literally would not be used for any other function than to just sit on my desk. Like,
which, to be fair, is the function of all of these things.
It is to sit on my shelves around me, but at the same time, like, they're cool action figures that I can, style and pose and put together, and it's just an alarm clock for two. It's because it's 200. Like, if it was 100, there probably wouldn't even be a debate. But 200, it's like that's one of these figures. Like, every single one of these figures is 175 before tax and fucking shipping. So it's like that's one of these figures. Like, it makes a lot more sense to be like, there you go. So, especially with Roche and this fucking guy. Now, to be fair, they don't release until 2024. So...
What?
Yeah, the Roche and them, all the figures are like that. And that's why, to me, it's so affordable. Not that, like, I'm stressing for money or anything, but it is a situation where they're so far out. So, like, for instance, who's the last figure I just got in? Sephiroth was the last figure I got in. He was available for pre-order, I think, 7 months after the game released. And I just got him a month and a half ago. He just came in.
Oh.
So you pre-order it, and they don't actually charge you until it ships.
Okay.
So then they message you saying, hey, just in case you're not as financially set as you used to be...
You sure about this Roche thing?
Are you sure you still want to buy this? They do that. They literally do that. Because we're going to process orders, and then they're going to ship. Once this is done, all sales are final. You have like 5 days to go in and cancel your order. Or make sure funds are in the right place for you to get this order. They literally do that every single time. And then it processes, and then it ships out. Well, it's like a week or two, and then it ships out. But yeah. And then you get it. So... They've all come in great condition. The only box that I was really upset with was my Red 13. My Red 13's box is a little bent up on the side. But other than that, I mean, the figure's fine. And they all came in great condition. He came just like the last one. What I like about Red 13 is you can pop his top of his mouth off. Like, completely take the top part of his head off. And you can toggle his eye to make it look where you want to. That's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
That's weird.
So you can give him more of like a menace look and stuff like that. Where he looks like he's mad because you got him staring down or something like that. Yeah, pretty cool. It's a cool little feature. So, I'll tell you what. So, the way they did Sephiroth is like his hair comes off because you can put him with the face that has like his eyes are closed. Bald Sephiroth looks fucking weird, bro. Bald Sephiroth looks fucking weird, bro. I actually thought about taking his hair off and just putting it on Rude just to kind of see what Rude would look like with some luscious silver locks and his sunglasses.
It looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So... Now, I guess the other axe to grind that I have with those figures was that Rufus didn't come with his dog. There's not a dog out there for you to buy, but I just feel like Rufus should have came with his dog. Because I feel like they're going to make that a standalone thing.
And that's insane to do.
Yeah. So I feel like he should have came with his dog.
Yeah.
So they released that dog by itself. That fucker better be as big as Red 13. Because if he's any smaller than Red 13, I ain't getting it. Like, that's crazy. And then they're the same price, I ain't getting it. So, we'll see. Anyways, so, on to the actual trailer, since I, fucking am so good at derailing myself here. On to the actual trailer.
I did it.
We both did it. We participated.
Yeah.
Alright. So, we'll bring this up. And, so like I said, we'll kind of just stop it at certain places. We'll talk about it. We'll go over things. And at the end, we can kind of talk about what we see potentially coming down the turnpike as far as the future Final Fantasy VII Remake, what we kind of think is going to happen in the second game. We do know for a fact it is going to be 3 pieces now of this entire project, that there's going to be 3 discs, which is pretty cool. Like the original, it was on 3 discs. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm just hoping that doesn't mean that the game's going to be rushed in a lot of different places. Like, for instance, Calm, you're there for, like, the Sephiroth story. So that's pretty significant. But like Chocobo Ranch, you're there for like 10 seconds. Fort Condor, you're there for like 10 seconds. Junon, you're there for like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, some of this stuff can be done, but like, I want the gold saucer scene to blow me the fuck away. I want the date night scene to blow me the fuck away. Fucking temple, or ancient temple, or whatever the fuck that was, blow me the fuck away. Like, all that stuff, I want that to look cool as fuck. But anyways, so we'll jump into it. Let's see, we can. I did like the opening. I did like the opening to this, where they kind of flashed through all the Final Fantasy stuff. We had 7, and then into the movie. That was all cool. And they obviously, first announcement was that it was coming to Steam,
Right.
the remake. Which, by the way, it being on Steam Deck, totally excited about that. Those of you who didn't see, this was the the clock that JoJo was referencing. Like I said,
Yeah.
still debating on whether I'm going to buy it or not. But I can definitely say at this point, Roche and both those Shinra Soldiers are pre-ordered. Because one is the Shinra Soldier and the other one's Shinra Soldier Captain. I do not have that pre-ordered. I don't care for those kind of figures. I like the articulate ones that can move and shit. They're really cool.
Yeah.
And then I did not get any of this fucking jewelry.
Okay.
I do kind of want to get the record, though. I'm not going to lie. Just to put it in like a frame. Because I really like that logo. That logo's fucking phenomenal.
Oh, that's also okay. I see. Yeah, it is just a record. That's cool. I mean, I've gotten a couple decorative sort of records that I don't have a record player for.
Right. I love that logo. That logo's badass. Okay. So we'll move past First Soldier. Once again, I would love to play.
We're adding a rocket launcher, I think.
Hey, there you go. Okay, so we got our first. Well, not our first. Our second look
Another
at Ever Crisis.
Possibility.
I like how I say that too. Another possibility. It was kind of cool. I do like the artwork they have though of the characters. Like Cloud looks like a badass. It was cool to see that we actually have Crisis Core in this. This is our first time seeing like part of the compilation in the trailer of Ever Crisis, because before it was just 7, and we knew it was going to be the compilation. But it's cool to actually see it.
Right, and yeah. They're not releasing it all at the same time, I would guess. I don't know.
My worry is that you do have some of these scenes here, right, that they're fucking identical to the original game. So, like, for instance, we had Zack running through Wutai here. I remember that exact maze. And then what's cool about this, for those of you who played the original, maybe you remember, or maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't, but you have the left room here, where Aerith was locked up, and then you and Tifa were locked up. Tifa was on the bed, Cloud was here, and then you had Barrett at the door, and then Red 13 sitting next to him. This was the jail cell that we all woke up in, and then you had to do the whole asking the questions. I wonder how Barrett's feeling. I wonder how so-and-so's feeling. And then the night goes out, and you wake up to the alarms going off, and this whole fucking hallway is just filled with blood, leading to the death of fucking Professor Shinra. I'm telling you, Steel Trap. I remember this all. It's fucking great. So, it's kind of really good as far as, like, a remake is concerned. Like right there, where you go up the elevator. Yeah,
that looks familiar.
And then I think that they did a good job with making sure they used remake-ish graphics for the fight scenes. I think that was smart.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they're like fully modeling all the characters again,
right?
In like 2 different styles, and also doing it in the remake itself. Like, that's a lot of.
Well, I mean, think about it though. Think about the original, right? Think about the original though. That's how it was like in the original. We had the short polygons that ran around, and then we had the actual lifelike. Well, not say lifelike, but graphics back then. The best we could do, lifelike models where you could see Cloud like breathing and actually like moving up and down and running around and shit. Like it looked as close to Cloud as we could get. Now the different armor is still throwing me for a fucking loop here for sure. But
don't you want to give Tifa like a blue sweater? Don't you want to pay $8 or something?
I don't understand the sweater, honestly. It's such a weird outfit. So yeah, the fucking nibble or the fucking calm scene that we're about to get coming up. Soldier First Class Generous. Yep. Lazard. Crisis Core.
Yeah. Fine.
Nibelheim scene. There you are in the bottom of Shinra Manor. There you are right for the reactor. Genova! So this is where I'm confused. Is this scene. The katana changes, and then his hair goes really short. And if this is supposed to be our quote-unquote shot-for-shot remake, this shit did not happen in the original. So that's the only thing that really kind of confuses me is like, Is it going to be an actual shot-for-shot remake? Is this going to be something where they're going to take their own liberties and kind of tell a little bit of a different story? Or if you buy cosmetics, does it actually change the way the character looks in the cutscenes as well?
I'm gonna say 100% not that, probably,
Not that
because
one?
then you have to render. Usually those cutscenes are pre-rendered, and you have to then render that in real time.
You're right.
Because you have to
You're
change
right.
costumes, whole thing, and you'd have to like redo it every time they add a new costume. That'd be a whole thing. My guess is they showed that weird fire Sephiroth hair changing thing right after showing a bunch of scenes of Sephiroth.
Mm-hmm.
Like through the Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII. Here's Sephiroth in Crisis Core. Here's I'm referencing him. They find his sword or whatever. I think they're just. I don't know if that scene they show then is meant to be a thing that actually happens in this game, or it's just like. Does short hair Sephiroth look like one of those dudes from Advent Children?
He somewhat looks like Kadaj, but not a lot. So he's kind of like Kadaj. So I see where you're going with this, where it could be a remake of that scene, but
or
as Kadaj.
It's meant to be representative of this game is like following. It's a compilation of Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
It's following these. Sephiroth is the central figure of that.
Because we haven't had.
Like Cloud's not really in Crisis Core or whatever he is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at the end he is, but I mean, he is, but she's Shinra's soldier.
Like Sephiroth is the through line of all this stuff. I don't know if they're including Urge of Cerberus in this thing or what.
From what I heard, it's supposed to be literally everything. Yeah. So that would make sense because we haven't had the Kadaj or his gang in anything else besides Advent Children. So, I mean, they really kind of get to change what they want him to look like. Because we haven't seen him in anything else. He has shorter hair than Sephiroth, but he doesn't. It's not like all spiked up and shit. But, I mean, back then, whenever they were doing that movie, they just, probably just went with a lot more just silver hair down. The only person that had short hair was Laws, the one that had the gauntlet on that fought Tifa.
So I wonder, like, if they include Advent Children, if they let you play it somehow. Like, because that's a movie.
Well, that's what they said. It's supposed to include everything. Like, you're going to be able to actually play the events of everything, which, I mean, they could still set it up to make you play the events. It would be short,
so
obviously,
at minimum,
as a game.
they're
maybe not.
adding in...
Because if you add in the book, too, I mean, On the Way to the Smile, I mean, that's literally... It goes... Before Crisis was the cell phone game that came out only on those Japan cell phones that looked like the cell phone from the movie. Then you have Crisis Core. Then you have Final Fantasy VII. Then you have On a Way to a Smile, which takes place in the 2 years between the movie or the game and the movie. Then Advent Children, or no, Dirge. Then Advent Children. No, the other way around. Advent Children, then Dirge. Sorry.
So theoretically, at minimum, there is stuff you will play that you haven't played before that they have to kind of make up.
Yep, that's true.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's an implication, just that you will be able to change Sephiroth's outfit. That you could be right, because then. He could be playable in some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, playable in Crisis Core? I mean, he's not playable in Crisis Core, but is he, like, on your side in that game?
Yes, he's on your side in that game. You
so
do a lot of stuff with Sephiroth up until the point where Zack asked the brain-breaking question of, like, well, you said normal humans, so what does that make you? And then he just, like, loses
so if they
shit.
change Crisis Core to be or like the Final Fantasy VII gameplay of a party and stuff, it makes sense that you just kind of have Sephiroth for a long time in that.
I mean, potentially.
Because unless they change gameplay styles for the different sections of this thing.
Yeah, because he really wasn't around for too much of it as far as like the actual game aspect, because that was where Zack like began to hate Sephiroth. Because I mean, for those of you who aren't, who haven't played Crisis Core, and I know it's coming out soon. Obviously, we've done a DFU on it, so feel free to, get your knowledge in and stuff like that. So if you got any questions, you know where to go to. But with Crisis Core, the whole thing is like with Angeal, who is Zack's best friend in the original wielder of the Buster Sword, goes rogue with this Genesis character who he's best friends with. They're both Soldier First Class, along with Sephiroth. All three of them are best friends. Like, that was the best part about Crisis Core, was one, you're playing a game with a character that you know is going to die, who only got 28 seconds of screen time in the original. and you're falling in love with this character. I mean, once again, Zack was so fucking popular, he became like the #1 Final Fantasy character in Japan, which is fucking crazy. And then you also find out Sephiroth's not a dick. Like, he was actually a decent fucking guy. And then it was just so many people kept fucking with his head and fucking with his brain. He finally snapped, and then he became a dick. So, but he wasn't always a dick. And so, like, you're sitting here playing as Zack, and he's going through all this bullshit of, like, everybody who helped him get to where he's at is gone. Now it's just him and Sephiroth, the best soldier out there, the #1, the hero. And he's like, you know, I want to become what Sephiroth is, but I don't want to do it this way. And what he starts to see is, like, Sephiroth's turning down jobs left and right and not going out and doing anything, and everything's falling on Zack's shoulders because he's the only soldier left. And Zack grows to resent Sephiroth for it, and then finally him and Sephiroth have it out and talk about it, and Sephiroth's like, these guys are closer to me than you would ever know. I'm not doing this because I don't think that I can take care of the work. I'm doing this because if I find them, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. And he's like, and I know Angeal means a great deal to you as well. So you're like, okay, cool. And then maybe Sephiroth's not so much an asshole. And so then they kind of work together a little bit. But, like, once again, I mean, it's very slim. But I see what you're saying, though. I mean, it would be, if I had to take a guess, or not take a guess. If I had to say what I would like to see, I would like to see that be Kadash. And what I mean by that is that there's one scene in the movie where Kadash is talking to Rufus. So you find out Rufus isn't dead, and Kadash and him have hunted Rufus and his group down. And Kadash is talking to Rufus, and he throws the 2 IDs down of Sun and Elena, and they're all bloodied up. And so he's like, why did you do this? Da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, these are your consequences for hiding Mother from us. And then, of course, obviously, Rufus is playing into it, like, oh, who's Mother? Da-da-da-da-da. He knows what the fuck's going on, obviously. And he goes, well, we got to get ready for the reunion. We have to get ready for the return. And he's like, the return? And he's like, oh, you don't know? And then he takes a knee down because Rufus has the geostigma, which is literally passed on through the live stream due to Sephiroth and Genova to infect people so that way they can kill the planet with their fucking disease and still do what they were planning on doing to begin with. And as Kadash kneels down, he slowly looks up, and as he does, Rufus has this vision in his head where it keeps switching from, like, his actual reality to his consciousness of, like, Kadash, Sephiroth, Kadash, Sephiroth, Kadash, Sephiroth, constantly as he's slowly looking up at him. So seeing a scene like that, except instead of the whole him kneeling down, it's the terror that happened at Nibelheim, where it keeps switching back and forth between, like, it'd be like the Advent Children portion of the game. And it's like just switches back and forth between Kadash, Sephiroth, Kadash, Sephiroth, Kadash, Sephiroth. That would be cool. That would be fucking cool.
So I found a little bit of an old interview from a year ago with Nomura. I think I have maybe now figured out what's happening there.
Okay, hit me.
Can you actually show me the little bit of Sephiroth again on fire? Just before I talk about this, let's see. Okay, I think now that is just young Sephiroth.
You think so?
Okay, so here's this thing that I'm where he talks about Ever Crisis. The stories from before Crisis up until Dirge of Cerberus will use a battle system designed especially for Ever Crisis. Okay. Right, and so it's all taking place in the same battle system, whatever. But so then Nomura's talking about that, and he's like, "Yeah, it'll be a command-style RPG thing. Find the chapters allow you to have a free gameplay style, cover the original FF7, and work its way through the compilation, and include FF7: The First Soldier." In regards to the First Soldier, part of Ever Crisis has First Soldier story in this game, which covers part of Sephiroth's youth.
Okay.
So I think that
Sephiroth
might be what they're implying here, is that
there's going to be another scene. So this could potentially be
never seen.
Yeah. So this is probably that would be cool, because then we would play as Sephiroth, because this is probably the war on Wutai.
Yeah.
Because that's where Sephiroth became a hero. Was he fought in the War of Wutai and became a hero in the War of Wutai. So, therefore, ever since then, it was like all hell Sephiroth, and because they saw how strong he was, no one was going to war with Midgar, which is why Genesis had so much hate towards Sephiroth, or not hate, but resentment, because it was like, not all of us were around for the war, so now I can never become a hero, because who needs to fight a war whenever we already have the unstoppable weapon. So, and that's why he's always trying to best Sephiroth on missions and shit, because like the world needs a new hero, and I want it to be me.
So then, I think if there's if that's what they're doing there, that makes sense. With
That would make sense, yeah.
With that logo being the three, like Zack, Sephiroth, Cloud. If this game is the Sephiroth game, Crisis Core remake.
Well, they
is
did
the
that
Zack
before,
game.
though.
Yeah.
Because the original logo for the 15-year anniversary, it's either 15 or 10-year anniversary, was also Sephiroth, Zack, and Cloud. And all we got was Crisis Core. So, and that's why a lot of people guessed that we were going to get a Crisis Core remake, because the last time they had done that, we got a Crisis Core remake.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, or we got Crisis Core. So that's why they all thought the Crisis Core remake was going to happen. Because we got that new logo. And they're like, oh shit, last time they did this. But yeah, no, that would be awesome. Because that's a lot of the game that you somewhat hear about during, before Crisis, which if you're trying to get your hands on that now, fucking good luck. Before Crisis, but you don't really get to actually see a lot of it actually go down. So being able to play as young Sephiroth fighting in the Wutai War would be fucking awesome. Which, by the way, with the whole I want to be your hero thing, that's actually funny because in Crisis Core, that's Zack's line when he's talking to Lazard, and Lazard's like, "So is your dream to make Soldier First Class?" He's like, "No, my dream is to become a hero." And Lazard goes, "Ah, good. Unattainable dreams are the best kind." It's like, damn.
That's in the Crisis Core trailer.
Is
right?
it?
Yeah,
It is. It is. Unattainable dreams are the best kind.
I remember thinking, wow, this voice acting is not very good.
Yeah, no shit, right? So, yeah, we'll get to that. So, cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be a great fucking thing to be able to actually play as young Sephiroth and go through the Wutai War, see how he actually grew up and got a lot more, or get a lot more information on that, because outside of Sephiroth, the only mysterious character we really had was Vincent, and he got his full game. And we're going to go through that again in Ever Crisis, apparently. So, that's what everybody else is lobbying for now. It's like, fucking, you're remaking Crisis Core. We need to remake it to Cerberus. It was a good game. It was a good game. It wasn't a bad game. It was not the best thing in the world. It was an experiment that I think was very bold and cocky for its time. And now with, the right people behind it, they could really make that a better thing. Because, they're going to have to do something with that at some point, because all the enemies from that game, Underground, are now officially in the remake thanks to Intergrade. That's who Yuffie fights, is Underground. That dude with the fucking straight jacket, Weiss with the white hair, that's Underground. That's all, the entire Dirge of Cerberus, that's where that's from. It's nowhere else in the compilation. That's where that's from. So they have now added that into the story permanently. So they're going to have to do something with it anyway. So, it's going to happen. It's officially remake canon now. So
right.
There's that. Which I thought that was smart, though. I thought that was smart. It was a good way, in my opinion, to tie Yuffie and Vincent closer together, because they do have this, it was one of the internet's favorite relationships that weren't a relationship. Everybody wants to see Yuffie and Vincent get together, which is kind of fucking weird.
Yeah, she's a child and he's a vampire.
Yeah. So it's like a man that can't die and is super old versus a 16-year-old kid. I mean, to be fair, whenever the majority,
that's the plot of Twilight.
Yeah, true. When the majority of the fan fiction and shit started to come out and people really started talking about it, was Dirge. So realistically, at that point, she's over 18, so at least she's an adult.
Yeah.
So that feels better, but it does draw some questions. Which, once again, it's Japan's culture. It's different over there. I think the age of consent's fucking 12, which is
I don't know the age of consent in Wutai.
True, but that's where it's weird. Is the original game, you can go on the dates, and you can actually go on a date with Yuffie. And out of all the people, Aerith, Tifa, Barrett, the only one that makes a move is Yuffie. She actually kisses Cloud on the cheek, and Cloud doesn't respond to it, and then she gets pissed off about it. So, because I've done all the date scenes. Yep. Barrett and Cloud's is just awkward, and they're just staying as far away from each other as possible. But they also decided to just go out on this fucking walk together. So, Aerith is a little bit more in your face of trying to figure out more about Cloud, and Tifa is I want to tell Cloud how I feel, but no, I don't. But I do, but I don't. But we're friends, but we're not. Yeah, a lot of that. Oh, well. Yeah. But yeah, that would be cool. Wutai, young Sephiroth, I can get on board with that. 100% get on board with that one. That would be cool as shit. Because he also got the blood and shit too.
Right. It's like
So-
eyes like
And you think about
fucking
war.
people up.
Yeah, exactly. Like actual
so I bet
war.
that's actually I bet that's what that is.
Yeah. That would be
Really
fucking cool as shit. Yeah. We don't care about all that. Okay. I thought that was pretty cool though. His legacy gave life to Final Fantasy VII. Which is fucking true. Which is why it's weird that we're rewriting it. But we'll see. Still not a fan of this voice actor at all. But
Not
god
good.
damn does
That's why.
this... Yeah. God damn does this fucking game look good though.
Yeah, I mean this
don't
visually
like...
is-
the little slot system. Don't care for that at all. I wish they would have just took it out. Like it made
how
sense
does
for the
that work?
PSP. So whenever you want to use a limit breaker or something, you'll have that slot system go, and it just ran. So you'll pop a limit breaker, and then it will select 3 people, and if it matches, then you'll get whatever their limit breaker is. So like if it's all
Okay.
3 Cloud, then you use Meteor Strike from Cloud. If it's all 3 Aerith, then you get Healing Wind from Aerith. It's like I would like to pick my fucking limit breaker
Yeah,
versus
especially between,
leaving it up to the chance of the
like,
gods. Damage and healing.
or healing.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would love to, get that gone, but it came back. It's here. And I like how they officially put Zack back in the purple, because that is the official second class outfit. I was actually just talking about this to my brother the other day, because he was asking, why is there a first class outfit, but like Genesis doesn't wear it, and Sephiroth doesn't wear it? I was like, well, there's first class, and then there's like tenured first class. Like, you get to do what the fuck you want. Like, no one comes to
they can't
Sephiroth and be
fire
like,
you.
you're not wearing a uniform. I was like, they all wear the belt that has the soldier symbol on it. I was like, but outside of that, like, in Sephiroth, you can barely see his because his coat is over it. But it's like, I mean, and Jill, yeah, he wears soldier first class uniform. But yeah, I mean,
That's
might not
how
be-
you know that he's just a boring ass soldier,
it may be.
not a cool guy.
Maybe.
By the books, follows the rules.
The Angel voice actor is almost very close to the original one. Zack
alright,
is
I
not
guess.
even close.
Act is on.
Yeah, he's
What
awful.
he sounded like before, I guess, but he doesn't sound here.
Yeah, so this is all shit going down in Wutai, by the way. This is not the War of Wutai, but this is well after that, obviously.
That line sucks.
It's actually not even
Yeah,
Genesis.
no shit,
that's
man,
the worst.
I get it. It's G stands for Genesis.
Yeah. Yeah, the writing wasn't the best.
That was the thing.
The
I
story
saw,
was still good, though.
That the other thing people thought there was going to be a Crisis Core remake release was because Gact posted a picture of himself cosplaying again as.
Oh, as
Genesis or
it's
something.
Genesis? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Not quite. It's a church.
Ah. Yep, there you go. Yep. That's gonna be the thing, the gut-wrenching scene. So, like, everybody talks about how they're gonna cry when Aerith dies in the remake. But fucking A, dude, whenever Zack has to kill Angeal, and then Angeal gives him the Buster Blade, and, like, Angeal was, like, his best friend, and then he just goes to Aerith, and she's talking about the whole flower cart that he's making for her, and she turns and looks, and Zack's just sitting there, Indian style, just sobbing on the floor, because, like, he literally just left there, and that's, like, I think one of the last times he sees Aerith, too, and she just goes over and gives him, like, a hug. Dude, that's gonna be so hard to watch. When we got to that, so, Zack is Kelsey's favorite character, because she's been through the entire compilation except for Before Crisis, so she knows the entire story from start to finish, and not the movie. She has not seen the movie yet. So she's been through the entire compilation. She loves Zack. When we got to that part, she was fucking bawling, crying. And at the very end, when he dies, there's that. It shows that like feather that's coming into like view, and you see the city of Midgar in the back, and there's the hill that he died on, and you hear him go, "Would you say that I became a hero?" And she's like, "Yes!" And she's got like tears and shit streaming down. She loves Zack, dude. Zack is her guy. She loves him.
I believe it's Zack and not Lizard.
I know, right?
There's that one.
I like how they just took this scene directly from the remake, though. Like, I guarantee you they didn't remake this fucking scene. So,
I mean, they should. Whatever, they shouldn't. I guess.
yeah.
Right, at some point, just what you got.
I still can't believe it's this winter. That's crazy, dude. Like, this next year is going to be nuts video game-wise. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it's pretty straightforward. You just, like, remade the models and stuff.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like it's pretty quick, considering the fact that we haven't had any information until now. Like, that seems like a pretty quick turnaround for Square Enix. Like, with their track record, that's pretty quick.
It's waited to announce it. It's probably been around for a while, you know.
Probably.
They wanted it for this event.
Maybe.
You know, they don't want to release it on the 29th anniversary of Final Fantasy.
That's true. That's probably true.
Seven.
But it's just crazy that we didn't get, like, anything for it, because it's like, I mean, imagine how, I mean, think about how long. Well, see, you say that, but what makes more sense to keep under wraps for the 25th anniversary is fucking Ever Crisis. Because it's the entire compilation. Like, we're celebrating the compilation of 7. Ever Crisis makes way more sense to keep under wraps and then talk about. Crisis. Exactly! That's what I'm saying! That's what we're getting Ever Crisis in September.
Well, so that's I guess it's a phone game. Right? Like, who cares?
True, I guess.
I mean, for Japan, they would, but like.
Yeah, a huge mobile over there.
That's impressive. So.
I don't know, man. I just, like I said, to me, that's just like really quick turnaround for Square.
Also, maybe they thought Ever Crisis would be out sooner and COVID.
Yeah, I think it's September is when we're supposed to get it. Something like that.
Yeah.
Did it have an actual release date? No, I didn't have a release date.
I actually have no idea. I think they did.
I don't remember seeing one. I mean,
like an early download thing. They said so.
Maybe.
Probably.
No, beta. Beta test 2022.
Yeah, beta. That's it. So yeah,
So.
maybe they didn't say explicitly.
Because there was a leak that I saw from, I can't remember who the company was, but there was a leak from this company, and it was talking about, obviously, some of the people who had something to do with Ever Crisis. It wasn't Square. And it said games that are still yet to be released for 2022 and September. And they said that in the leak, it was a report talking about these games had to be released by the end of the third quarter. So... September, and fucking Ever Crisis was on that list. So, we'll see. But yeah, before I start here, I do want to say I feel like this message from Aerith is like them directly talking to the fans of like how everybody's like, especially me included, of like, why is all this shit changing? Da 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 da. I feel like this is a message from fucking Tetsuya Nomura directly to us. Like. Like, I feel like that's directly talking to us.
Yeah. Well, become the planet.
So, Mora's been talking about wanting to show us this for a while. There was a interview with him and Katase, and Katase was like, I can't show you anything, da-da-da-da-da, and then Nomura straight was just like, well, I got some cool videos of, like, Cloud walking around in the wild that I'd love to show you guys. Like... Fucking Nomura just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. But what somebody said that I saw on Twitter I thought was cool, because I just totally I didn't think about it. Like, I know where this is taking place. It's obviously the calm backstory. But look at the fucking mountains in the background. Like, we finally get to see what the Nibelheim Mountains. Remember how that shit looked in the original? Oh, it's fucking cool. Weird. Like, did not disappoint. Did not disappoint. Looks fucking great. So I'm excited about that.
Which Sephiroth?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you implying? That I died? That I'm some kind of imposter?
It's all fiction.
True.
It's a dumb question.
And there's that feather. So this time Zack ain't dead.
It's so hard to find you.
And he's got a terrible voice actor.
Yeah. Better off dead.
Some people would think so. Rebirth. So, obviously we don't have a lot here. But we knew the game was going to start off in calm. And for those of you who have played, we knew that the Sephiroth story was coming. First thing I got asked by a couple people, which I was fucking surprised by. But obviously it's people who jumping onto the remake and never played the original was like, why is Cloud just hanging around with Sephiroth in the fucking trailer? It's not hanging around. Like, once again, there's this whole thing that happens in Calm. You do this whole story where Cloud nobody else knows Sephiroth the way Cloud does. Which, really, Cloud doesn't even know Sephiroth the way that Cloud fucking thinks he does. He was in the background while all this shit was going on between Zack and Sephiroth. But still, it's this whole story that's going to happen. So it's going to be, in my opinion, probably a big portion of 2. I mean, I would have to think it's going to be at least a couple of hours out of 2. Like, the first probably like 5 hours out of the game, I would have to think was going to be the Sephiroth story. Because, I mean, it goes into a fucking lot. Because, the first game was 55 hours? Part 1? I think so. And that was Midgar. And Midgar took 4 hours to get through in the original game. So, from start to finish, if you just start playing the game. So, yeah, I think that's probably going to take a good bit. I think our next biggest spot after that would probably be... I'm ready to hit the Mithril Mines. Because you go Calm, Chocobo, you get the Chocobo to go across the fucking lake where the fucking snakes are underneath, and then you get into the Mithril Mines, and that's where we get to see Elena. I'm ready to see the last and final Turk. Elena. We haven't seen Elena yet. I'm ready to see her. Because then they'll release... I know that's why they haven't released a fucking Sung figure yet, because they're waiting to do Elena and Sung together.
Makes sense.
Because they did Reno and Rude together, so... I want Elena and a Sung. That was the scene that they did change, and I actually I don't think I forgot about it, because I think I mentioned it whenever I was streaming the game when I was first playing it for the first time. But Sung not slapping Aerith, that was a scene that was completely changed too. Forgot about that, because so many people hated fucking Sung in the original game. Yeah, it's whenever he's in the helicopter when they're getting ready to blow up the pillar, and Cloud and them look up, and it's after Reno and them got away, where Sung is up top, and he's got Aerith, and she's like down on her knees, and they're all like, "Oh my God, Aerith, are you okay?" And then that's whenever Barrett's like, "What about Marlene?" And she's like, "She's safe," which in the original game didn't make sense. Like, how the fuck does Aerith know who Marlene is? None of that that before shit was. Yeah. They didn't say anything to Aerith about Marlene. No fucking clue. To where here in the remake, we actually see Tifa's like, "Go to the bar. There's this girl named Marlene. Go get her." Da 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 da. Once again, that's the expansion I like. That's the remake I like, for sure. This other shit, not... Once again, I'll play the entire 3 games, and then I'll talk about it as a whole. I don't think it's fair to talk about part 1 as just part 1. I think as a whole, then you can judge it. That's just my opinion. So... But yeah, so she says about the Marlene stuff, and then she goes to say something else, and Sung slaps her in the mouth. And that was in the original, so not seeing that in the remake, because I was waiting for that scene to happen in the remake, and it didn't happen. I was like, oh, okay, so that did.
They want to make him seem like less of an asshole.
Less of an asshole, yeah, that was my guess.
They retract, like in Advent Children, those dudes end up being not awful.
Oh, Reno and them, yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're like that was one of the cool scenes for. So like whenever you watch the movie came out twice. The first time it came out was just like, this is Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. It was in the middle of their merge from going from Squaresoft to Square Enix. And they had just done Spirits Within, and that had bombed terribly. Yeah. So it was like, quick, let's take our biggest money-making IP, which is obviously 7, and fucking make a movie out of it. And so they did, but it was very rushed. So then they went back and they filled in scenes that were kind of like missing, and it's called the completed version of Advent Children. And the difference between that one and Advent Children with Reno Rude is this one pivotal scene where they're at this lodge up in Helena, which is not a place in the game whatsoever, but they're at this lodge, and that's where Cloud comes out there and meets them. And they start talking, and Rufus is slowly getting Cloud on his side about doing the exploring, because Cloud has Denzel living with him. Those of you who don't know who Denzel is, because you didn't read the book. Denzel is this orphan from Sector... Would it still be 7? Yeah, because it's Sector 7 and Sector 7 slums, right? Then Sector 5 slums. Like, it's everything down is the slums, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Anyways, so whenever they dropped the plate on 7, his home was at the top of the plate, because his dad and mom both worked at Shinra.
Okay.
So he was on the plate next to that, staying at his aunt's house or some shit like that. So his parents died. So he's constantly down there going through, like, you know, the fucking debris and shit, trying to see if he can find his parents. And he's got the geostigma, ends up fucking finding Cloud's bike, tries to call Tifa because he doesn't know who it is. He just sees the number, keeps calling and calling because Cloud never answers his fucking phone. And then he calls it, and then he ends up passing out because of the geostigma. And then Cloud finds him, picks him up, takes him home. Boom, 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 boom. One thing after another, right? So they're getting him slowly on their side. Like, oh, you got this orphan living with you. Wouldn't you like to find a cure for him? Da 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 da. There's plenty of other kids out there like him. They have no family. They have no anybody. We can get a cure for all of them. They're slowly getting Cloud on his side, and then Reno goes, yeah, Cloud, come on. Together we can rebuild Shinra. Then fucking Cloud hits him with his normal, not interested, and then fucking walks out the door. So it shows after that, right before Kadash attacks them, Reno's laying on the couch, and he goes, I hope that the director and Elena are okay. And then Rude sits down next to Reno and goes, the director will be fine, and so will Elena. He's like, the director and Rufus are kind of the same, or the director and the president are kind of the same. You know, they're like cats, 9 lives and all. And then he goes, yeah, it'd be great when we're back as a full team because, you know, we got some making up to do. And then Rude goes, yeah, we have a lot of atoning to do for everything. And then Reno lays back on the couch and he goes, the whole world, it's crazy to think that the whole world was almost obliterated and we were the obliterators. He goes, how the fuck are we supposed to atone for something like that?
Yeah.
So, like, it was like a real, like, holy shit. Like, the Turks, they kind of know, like, they fucked up. Like, they were kind of helping, and now they're trying to find ways to do at least some good, right?
We shouldn't have dropped a big thing on a bunch of people.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
right?
bad.
Exactly. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's weird, but it's just kind of cool because the movie, in my opinion, showed, like, a lot more of their relationship, and I like that. And I think, like, it's really important to watch the movie if you're going to start playing the remake and you don't know the story. I mean, you really should play the original, then watch the movie, then play the remake. But because the movie does give you just so much more of what, like, the Turks' bonds are and shit to each other. Like, Reno and Rude in the movie fucking are great. I love that one scene where it's like Kadash and them are going through the tunnel, and then Cloud takes care of the two in the tunnel, and then he's going for Kadash. And then they start coming up behind Cloud. Cloud comes out of the tunnel, and you see Reno and Rude standing there. And they've made this Rude's made this homemade pipe bomb. And fucking Reno's all like, so what's this? And he's all like, Shinra's technology at its finest. And then Reno's like, oh, so you made this. And he's like, if anything, it'll be flashy. You'll love it. I know. And Reno's like, I love flashy. And he's like, looks like we're clocking out early today. Like, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't get that in the original. The only time that we got anything close to that was like when they were talking about who they thought was hot, and then you find out that Rude has a fucking crush on Tifa. Like, that's it. Which I love how they built that into the combat, by the way. A lot of people don't know that shit about, like, Rude will not attack Tifa in the party when you go to fight him in the original. And if both people are down, I don't know if it's both people are down, but it's like, I don't think he'll even attack her if she's the last person. So you can literally just let both your people go down and then just beat Rude with Tifa because he physically won't attack her.
Weird.
Yeah, it's fucking cool shit that they, like, wrote that into the code of the game. That's fucking awesome. So, but yeah, so I guess we could jump on our thoughts here. So we know that there's going to be 2 games. We know that. We got Rebirth. We don't know what the title of the next one's going to be, which I really think they missed the mark. I think the third one should have been Reunion, and they should have called Crisis Core something else. Because around that third disc is where you start seeing all those clones, and everybody's like, Reunion.
Yeah.
It would have made a lot of sense, you know, remake, Rebirth, Reunion. But anyways, so we'll see whatever the last R is going to be. But yeah, so I guess my predictions. I'm going to give my predictions for disc 2. Obviously, we're starting in Calm. We know that, or at least on the road to Calm. My predictions are we will end Eris Destine is fucking far. Because we go Calm, Chocobo, Swamp, Mithril Mine, Fort Condor, Junon, where there's another big Genova fight on the ship, going from Junon to Costa del Sol, from Costa del Sol to the Gold Saucer, or to Barrett's hometown, to the Gold Saucer, and then to the prison of the Gold Saucer, then Gongaga, than Cosmo Canyon. I would like to see the game end after the events of Cosmo Canyon, because we still haven't got to Aerith's death at that point. We've gotten.
I think.
Go ahead.
Let's say I think there's like no way they don't make it to Aerith's original death scene.
You think
in
so?
This thing.
You think they're going to go that far?
They have to. There's one more game that more whole discs in, like minimum.
Yeah, but you got to.
The third disc is shorter, but like, you know,
the third disc is extremely shorter. But at the same time, like, there's so much stuff that they're kind of doing as like one-off things, like Yuffie story and shit. That was kind of like its own little DLC. I could see them potentially doing that with like Wutai. Wutai being its own thing, potentially fucking like a DLC with fucking Vincent. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think a Vincent DLC for this part, probably the thing they would do.
I think them doing Aerith's death in the second one would be cool if it's a massive game, but I don't think it's going to be massive enough for the expansion of like almost every single place that matters to matter more, right? Like I think there's so much more they can do in Junon than the original. I mean, you got fucking President Shinra there. You got Cloud sneaking in as a Shinra troop. Like, there could be like a whole bunch of like backflashes and story of like Cloud's time in the Shinra infantry, shit like that, that they can expand on. I mean, you've got all the fucking Shinra top dogs there. You got the ship, which I think is going to be awesome. You got the Genova fight with that. Costa del Sol, there's a lot of background shit there too. I mean, the core or the fucking prison in the Gold Saucer. I mean, fucking Mount Coral is going to be, it's got to be something. I mean, that's Barrett's background. That's his hometown, his wife, Dane, Marlene's real father. All that shit happens there. Like, that's a lot. Like, I feel like if they don't expand on it and they just do kind of like what they already did, that's going to, they would have to shorten that runway to get to Aerith's death. Because even after we hit Cosmo Canyon, you go from Cosmo Canyon to that far out island to find out that fucking key that you need to get into the ancient temple is back at the Gold Saucer. You go back to the Gold Saucer, and that's where the date night happens. So that's going to be a big deal on its own. And then from there, you go to the ancient temple, and then after that crushes down, you get the black meteor materia, which Sephiroth takes from you, and then you wake up and fucking Aerith's gone, and then you go to the ancient forest, then you go to the below part of the ancient forest, and that's where she originally died. So that's a lot of game game left.
You have the same. If you don't do all that shit in this game, you have the same problem than putting everything into the third game from the.
Not really, because after Aerith's death, like there's nowhere to go that's like story related besides everything up there by the northern crater. So like really, Disc 3 would just be the entire frozen aspect of Gaia.
Okay.
Because I mean, you could potentially put like Wutai and stuff in there if you really wanted to. I mean,
I
and then if they're gonna do anything with the secret weapons, I mean that's when those pop up, Ruby weapon and Emerald weapon. And then you got the whole sunken ship underneath Lucrezia's cave, which is just Vincent going in there and being like, oh, my powerful weapon is here. My powerful limit break is here. Like, obviously, that should have a little bit more impact, but they're not going to go too far into that, I would think. Because they're still going to want to keep Vincent mysterious for the fact that they could potentially make a Dirge of Cerberus game and remake and fucking tell a story there.
I mean, that story's already been told, I guess, so they can kind of go into whatever.
I think it will be like
if they
flashbacks.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. The whole showdown with Hojo and Vincent. That would be in the third disc. And then right after that, you go to Sephiroth. So, I don't know. I just feel like that's...
Shuffle some of that. Because also you need to end on, like, ending, sort of. Like, you know, second game you can't just, like, get to a place and say, okay, now we're done. Like, it has to work as an episode.
Yeah, and that's another good question, is what is the ending going to be like? Because we don't know what this looks like yet. We don't know if this is obviously we know it's not necessarily a shot for shot, but that could change. They could just be like, we fooled you with all this shit. Here's like the timeline recorrecting itself, and now it's going to end the same way it did the first time, which I'm fine with.
There's going to be something happening in this, I guess, that didn't happen initially.
Yeah, because the end of the first one was just what? Yeah, them on the high wind, watching the live stream come out and save the planet from meteor. That was it.
Yeah.
And then it flashes white, goes to black screen, and then you see Red 13 running with his little cubs up that mountain to see Midgar that's completely taken over by a forest.
I wonder if there's any of that stuff that can shuffle around a bit. Like, could you change the story in such a way that, like, you still go to Barrett's town, but somehow that happens in the third disc instead? Right? Like, they just tore that way later.
They could potentially... No. Because you have to go to Barrett's town to get to the Gold Saucer, because it has the lift that takes you to the Gold Saucer. You can't go through the sand because of the quicksand. You can't make it there. So you have to go through Barrett's town. Barrett gets basically beat up by everybody as you're going through. They're all like hitting him and shit, and he's just being mopey. And then you get to the lift. You go to the Gold Saucer, and then Barrett is still all fucked off in his head, so he ends up leaving.
Oh.
Ooh, excuse me. Good God. So he ends up leaving, and they go and try to find him, and then that's when you start hearing words that there's a man running around with a gun on his arm killing everybody.
Yeah.
And then that's when they remember that Barrett was with you, so then the fucking Dio, the fucking owner of the Gold Saucer, traps you all in that Coliseum, and then throws you down into the Coral Prison. And down there's where all the prisoners are, and that's where you end up finding Barrett. He's already down there. And he tells you, obviously, he didn't do it, and everybody's freaking out. It's like, well, you're the only person that's got a gun on their arm. And then he tells them the entire story of how Shinra came to town and said, let's put a reactor here, blah, 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 blah. And then he was betrayed. And then him and Dane were sitting there holding each other's hands while Dane was like right there. And Shinra soldier shot his arm and Dane's arm. And that's how Dane fell down to his death, but instead survived and then got a gun grafted on his arm, just like Barrett, and has been hunting Barrett down since then, because Barrett was the one that told the town it would be good for Shinra to install their power there. That coal was the way of the past, and the way future would be Mako. And then they came back to their entire village being on fire, and that it was a Shinra cover-up. Which true.
Oh yeah, that does seem like you need to do that before you go to the Gold Saucer. Okay.
Well, that's because it ties in with the prison of the Gold Saucer. So that's
right,
where,
like,
yeah.
that justifies that whole thing, and it makes sense they'd want that also, because that's a perfect place then to do like the Coliseum battles that are extra things that like they had in first disc.
Coliseum battles, Chocobo racing, that's gonna fucking come back. Right. I wonder if they'll have, because you used to be able to go to the arcade in the original and you could play that boxing game, and then you could also do you remember the Moogle game? Where it's like the little Moogle came out and it's like, oh, he's all alone. He's looking for a mate. Maybe if you feed him enough Koopo nuts, he'll be able to be strong and go out and find him a mate. So you keep feeding him Koopo nuts. And it's like, if you feed him too little, he won't be able to fly. But if you feed him too much, he won't be able to fly. So you got to feed him just right. And you give him just enough Koopo nuts, then he can fly around. And him flying around causes a girl Moogle to show up. And then they go in the house, and you know what's implied. And then all of a sudden, like, it's like so many years later, and then it shows him come out, and then she comes out, and then like fucking 4 little Moogle kids come out. It's like, you made a Moogle family, and then that's it. That's literally the entire game. You just feed that one Moogle a couple Koopo nuts, and then that's it. That's the game. So I wonder if that'll be there. There are a lot of fun games, and there's the racing game too, which was basically the highway scene that we got, where Cloud's on the bike, and yeah. That'd be cool to have that as a game that you can kind of go in and do. Because I actually enjoyed the racing scenes. Like, Roach was fucking annoying. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, I guess they'll have to like put in some more bullshit with him. Like, there's no way he doesn't show up again. Like, yeah. Right?
They have to. Like, after the shit that happened down in Midgar, there's no way he doesn't show up again. I think that he's going to take place, like him and some of those Shinra groups, of that fucking weird-ass enemy that we had in the original, where it was like the fucking midget biker, if you will. Like, the biker was like this big, sitting on a motorcycle, and the handlebars were all the way up, and they had those like 8 feet arms that went up to the handles. They were right outside of Midgar on the way to Calm. Is an enemy you would run into randomly. It was them, and then the fucking purple dogs you kept running into. But it was an old school fucking enemy of the original. I wonder if like that's gonna be the thing, is like as you're on the way to Calm, like you'll constantly run, or just on the road in general, traveling to another location, you have the chance of running into Roach and his Shinra troops that are trying to track you down. Like, that's going to be your constant threat as you're
That could be a thing, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that'd be pretty cool. But we'll see.
Because I mean, I guess like it's already branching in some way. You know, like there's still, you know, Jesse and Biggs and Wedge are alive, and
Yeah.
or whatever, and that'll have to come up again.
Well, see, and
Yeah,
that's
I
the
don't
thing.
know.
Like, all the deaths been taken out. Like, in the original game, it said that when they dropped the plate, they killed 300,000 people. Everybody got evacuated out in the remake.
Oh yeah.
Biggs,
Wow.
Jesse, and Wedge also died at
Yeah,
the,
they do
at
a
the
great
pillar.
job. Yeah.
They also chose not to die in the remake. So it's like Zach was dead, obviously. Zach's obviously not dead in the fucking remake. So it's like they've literally every death that was supposed to happen hasn't happened. And then even deaths that never happened in the original. Well, that's not true. President Shinra is still dead. But even deaths that didn't happen in the original that happened in the remake also got reversed. Like Barrett getting stabbed by fucking Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Well, not Sephiroth. Genova clone of Sephiroth, but still, same thing.
Whatever.
So,
Yeah.
Can't remember who I was talking to about that. Somebody was talking to me about that, and they're like, yeah, so it's the Sephiroth, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, it's not Sephiroth. And they're like, but it was Sephiroth. And I was like, well, it's Genova clone, so it's not Sephiroth whenever you kill it. Or, yeah, it was the death of Aerith. They were arguing with me because they're like, yeah, well, Sephiroth killing Aerith. And I was like, well, I mean, it's not really Sephiroth. It's a Genova clone. They're all like, no, that was Sephiroth. I mean, did you not see, like, Sephiroth fall down? Like, she got stabbed by Sephiroth's sword. I was like, I agree with you. But still a Genova clone. Do you not remember, like, after she dies, it turns into a piece of Genova on the floor, and then that turns into a version of Genova that you then have to fight? Like, it's Genova. Like, it's been a recurring theme. You've seen it at the tower, where you fight it at the tower. You see it at the ship in Junon, where it's the exact same thing. Sephiroth comes in, fucks shit up, then it turns into, like, Genova's arm or some shit, and then it turns into a piece of Genova, and then you fight it there, too. I was like, it's like a reoccurring thing all the way through. And I remember when you got to the end of the game, they're like, oh my god, Sephiroth's been dead this whole time, and he's reanimating his body inside this fucking crystal. Of course it wasn't Sephiroth any other time we saw him. Well, duh. Yeah, it's Genova. We talked about this. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, don't tell me I'm wrong when I know I'm right. Like, I mean, we can sit here and argue about it. We go to Google, and it'll tell you the same thing. Like, Genova clones throughout the entire fucking game.
I would just take your word for anything regarding this.
Well, I mean, and that's why Sephiroth's one of my favorite fucking villains. I mean, he's doing all this mind manipulation and shit on Cloud to get him to bring him the fucking materia that he needs to fucking destroy the world, while he's literally dead and reanimating his entire body. Like, that's some badass shit right there. Like, that's a fucking villain, dude. Like, that is some powerful shit. Like, oh my god. He's got to be one of the most powerful villains ever in video game history. Like, that's fucking crazy to me. Oh, man. They, like, really were like, we got to step the bar up because the boss that you had before him was Kefka. And Kefka was a fucking beast. So, I mean, Kefka set the bar very fucking high.
Yes.
Very fucking high. I mean, it's a very... It is a debatable argument on whether or not Sephiroth even came close to that bar. Obviously, I'm biased in the situation. But I can see where the argument is had, for sure. Because Kefka was a fucking baller, so... But yeah, so I think I would like... Before they did this whole, it's only going to be 3 pieces, whenever I thought that it could be more than 3 pieces, I saw us ending in Junon. So that's before we even go to the other continent. I saw us getting in the ship, fighting Genova, and then leaving off after the Genova fight, pulling up to Costa del Sol. That's where I saw us ending. Now knowing that it's 3 pieces, 0 chance. 0 chance. Unless they're cutting out a shit ton of stuff, 0 chance that happens. Because, I mean, we still got Rocket Town and all that other shit with Sid and everything. Like, there's so much still left. Like, it's crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Because, I mean, they could do it and cut a lot of that shit out, but it released kind of like Intergrade did. You know? Mm. Where it's like, hey, you went to the Gold Saucer, and then they cut the Gold Saucer out of the main second disc the second time you go back, and then the DLC of, like, the Gold Saucer date night, you know? I mean, they could. So
yeah, this like won't expand nearly as much on some of this as they did on
Midgar, for sure. Midgar's gigantic. Right. It made sense, for sure.
So you get, like, Mithril Mine will just be a chapter.
It would be a run through.
Do it, and then they'll move on, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff will just kind of pick, maybe.
But, like, the Gold Saucer, I mean, that's got to be huge, dude.
But, I mean, that'll just, you know, there'll be a lot of side stuff you can do there.
Yeah.
But, you know,
and that's where you get Kate Sith, dude.
Yeah.
That's where you
Like,
find
the
out.
key-
Well, no, it's the second time
Or
you come back is when you find out that Kate Sith's a spy. Yeah, because you get Kate Sith the first time there, and then you find out he's a spy the second time you're there. Because during the date night, that's right. Because you see him acting weird and shit, and then he threatens you with Marlene. I was so pissed off whenever that happened. I was like, dude, I like Kate Sith. How can you do this to me? And then you find out what Kate Sith is, and then you do the reading to find out even more. That lore of Kate Sith is so fucking crazy. So Reeve used his powers, which he has. He can literally speak through Kate Sith no matter where Kate Sith is at. Kate Sith is a robot cat that is brought to life. He literally gave this cat life. And then Kate Sith used his powers to create Mog, which is a stuffed animal, by the way, and then gave it life. So Reeve is the most broken character in Final Fantasy VII that does absolutely nothing at all to help anybody. Like, at all. It's insane. Like, look up the original fucking lore for him and reading that out of the original, like, little pamphlet book. It's insane to hear, like, yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Reeve just used his mind powers.
I can get behind
to bring
just,
this back to life.
it's a robot. Right, okay, sure. That part, if you don't think too much about anything else to it, like, oh yeah, sure. I made a robot, that makes sense.
But then they talk about the fact that it's sentient, and it makes its own choices, and it does that, and then it made Mog, and Reeve didn't have it make Mog. It did that on its own. So then it's like,
gets confusing.
Yeah. I was like, what? Oh, man, dude. The story of fucking Kate Sith is fucking nutty. Oh, my gosh. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I said, I don't know where this fucking shit's going to end, man. They got me all confused now.
I guess I don't know how they'll split it up exactly, but I'm still convinced they end the second part with Aerith not dying.
Ooh.
With the part where Aerith would die, and something happens there, maybe with Zack
and then leaves you on that cliffhanger.
Right, and then that's like the thing. It is a cliffhanger. Like that moment is the perfect moment to make a cliffhanger action.
That's fair. That's fair. Seeing if it was a lot longer of a project and multiple pieces, like there's so many good places for cliffhangers too, you know?
Sure.
Fucking like the whole fucking casino shit where like they're like, oh my god, Barrett's running around fucking killing people, you know?
Yeah, what? No.
You fucking drop down the prison and you see Barrett and he's got like fucking blood on him and shit, and it just fucking ends there, some shit like that. That'd be a perfect cliffhanger. Like, was Barrett the murderer? Like, you know, fucking for people who haven't played the original.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to play it. It looks fucking great. I'm ready to see what it looks like, you know, being made for the PS5. I mean, I know the Intergrade was as well, but, you know, I'm ready to see that. That's going to be nice. Ready for 16. That's going to be cool. I'm ready for Crisis Core Remake. I'm super fucking ready for that. I mean, that fucking, I mean, it literally is like you get Crisis Core in winter, and let's say, you know, you kind of try to fucking 100% it. It's going to fucking take you at least the first 2 months of the next year, because I'm sure we'll get it on December 31st. So
it'll probably come out before Christmas.
You think? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, it's like you said, they probably have had it for a while now. They've just been keeping it for the reveal for this. Yeah. So that's probably fair. It'd be probably here for the holiday. But yeah, and then, you know, that gets you a couple months there, and then you got fucking summer right around the corner. And we get 16, and then as soon as you're done with that, winter right around the corner, we get fucking Rebirth, dude. That's crazy. That's nuts. I'm okay for it though. Like, fuck yeah, dude.
And in between of that, you get to play Ever Crisis.
Yeah.
Off hours.
Exactly.
On your train.
Exactly. Hey, dude, RPG me up, dude. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Especially Square Enix. Don't they have something else coming out too that has to do with Chrono Trigger or something like that? Or Xenoblade?
They did a Chrono Trigger, a Chrono Cross remake that's put out. There's Xenoblade is not them.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it?
Yeah, Xenoblade's a Nintendo thing. Xenoblade Chronicles is all Nintendo. They own that.
Okay. Because...
Also, Xenogears...
Oh, Xenogears
Square
is
Enix
different.
owns that.
Okay.
And it's all connected in who made it, but it's not related.
It's Xenogears, because I was thinking, because there's the whole scene in the original 7 where when Cloud's in the wheelchair, if you keep talking to him, he starts singing the theme song to that game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and it's Xenogears.
That at the time was a PS1 Square Enix thing. That makes sense.
Got you.
I have no idea if they do even. I assume they still own the rights to that game alone, but none of the other I know stuff.
Probably not. They burned that bridge with Nintendo pretty bad back in the day whenever they chose to go with Sony.
So, I mean, it was, I don't remember. Xenogears guy ended up with Namco, I guess, and did Xenosaga. And then there's Xenoblade, which is completely unrelated to both those things. And Xenoblade was unrelated to Xenogears, but complicated thing. I played none of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't either. So, fair enough. Well, that's pretty much my thoughts on where we're at. If I didn't cover anything, feel free to throw down in the comment section below. JoJo, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think we did good. Yeah.
All right. Well, then that is going to do it for us. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. If you guys enjoyed this content, make sure you like and subscribe. Turn on notifications. That way you get notified next time we upload another video. Obviously, I'm here to talk about Final Fantasy till I'm fucking blue in the face. So hit us up in the comment sections below and let us know your thoughts, your views, where you think we're going. The Final Fantasy conversations in the comments have been awesome, guys. Like, seriously. I was surprised to see how many people who aren't subscribed to the channel just show up and start talking to me on the first 16 video that I did. And we had some good communications. There were some people who were calling me on my bullshit on when I thought it was going to come out and everything else, and it was great. It was a good time. So, yeah, and most of us were all wrong. So we all thought it was going to be, you know, this year, but just this year, next year. Like, Square Enix is this year. And no, it's actually fucking summer. And we were definitely, everybody was in unison. There wasn't a single person, including myself, that once that fucking timeline came out of 2023, every single one of us like, we will not be seeing the remake until 2024. Minimum. Most likely 2025. And we were fucking wrong on that too. So they're all coming out back to back, which is kind of crazy. But you know, that fucking Final Fantasy 14, all they got to do is just drop a DLC and
right.
That
yeah,
shit goes crazy.
They'll have another.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But like I said, we're gonna wrap it up. Comment, like. Best way to help us out is to share us. On top of that, make sure you hit the links down below. We got Twitters and we got Twitches down there. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time.